blockchain solutions for individual clients on a proprietary basis. We've had a lot of talk about leapfrogging. Africa is the home of leapfrogging. We haven't yet seen the kind of crypto blockchain moment like we saw with M-Pesa some 16 years ago in Kenya. When do you think we're going to see that kind of lightning adoption, perhaps a fast adoption curve, when the lights flash on and everybody is suddenly thinking, actually, now is the time to switch over to this sort of transformational technology?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
Okay. So, first of all, I would like just to clarify a differentiation between cryptocurrencies and blockchain. I don't know if the audience is aware of the difference, but as you know, cryptocurrency is a use case of blockchain, which means that the blockchain is the underlying technology that the cryptocurrency uses to operate. Because the important thing about cryptocurrency is operating without intermediaries, which means that we have, for the first time ever in the human history, we have a decentralized system that can operate without any central authority or something like that. So we have this technology that makes blockchain, that makes cryptocurrencies possible. And like I've said, this difference makes that the companies desires to do the same or to achieve or to build projects similar to cryptocurrencies. What I mean by that? Because if you look into the inner working of cryptocurrencies, you will understand that cryptocurrencies are based on trust. So it's operating in a decentralized manner which ensures trust without any intermediaries. So companies desires to have these abilities, this feature in their own systems, which means that we are multiple companies who are collaborating over a given process, and we would like to have this distributed system which ensures trust between us without having to rely on any other authority, and by being equal in some way. For example, just to give you an example for the sake for explaining. For example, I have, let's say, a logistic company or port with, for example, different companies, importers, exporters. So all of these entities, they need trust. And to deploy it without blockchain, we need to have a centralized system, and we need to have an authority to guarantee the outcomes of this system. So to ensure in some way the trust within this system, which will, of course, incur some delays and make the system not fault tolerant. It will make it weak in some way. But by using blockchain, we can bring this trust at lower cost and speed up the process. Because what's the problem in general in B2B business, in B2B processes, is that in any process you have sequential processing or sequential treatment. For example, I am the initiator. I will need, for example, another entity to bring up do its part, and I will, for example, later wait also later for another entity. It's like, for example, in import-export, I will need to wait for customs. I will need to get the approval of the port, etc. So all these operations are sequential, which means that it will cost time. But when we move to blockchain, we can change this sequentiality into a parallel treatment by using smart contracts. And like that, we can have seamless process, we can have quick processing of the treatment, and like that, we can build performance systems compared to legacy systems. You asked me about Africa. I would say, and it will amaze some people here, Africa is the fertile land for blockchain. Why? For the simple reason is that we don't have legacy systems. In any industry, we are just, we have some, I would say that there is differentiation between countries, but in general, if you compare Africa to Europe or Africa to USA or Japan, we have this lack of legacy systems that managing different processes in the economy, and this is the opportunity. In the absence of these legacy systems, we can go for the latest technologies to build similar systems. For example, like the example I gave for managing the import-export, in other countries we have reliable systems that were established. For them, it will be hard to move to blockchain because they have to upgrade the system. They will. It's like they will lose the investment that they have done initially in their system. But in case the African countries where these systems are absent, we can do this investment and go directly to the latest technology, which offer. It's not like doing blockchain for the sake of doing blockchain, but to solve.
Sure, that's true. And the dream is real. I mean, we've heard the blockchain dream many times over a decade now, really, since certainly well beyond the financial crisis. I'm just wondering, with the work that you're doing, some of these products, which are these development projects, which are beyond now experimentation, which are actually in production. When are we going to see kind of live execution that we'll be able to talk about and say, actually, this really is now the beginnings of that leapfrog moment? What sort of period does that look like?
There is just a problem here, is that blockchain is not about media or communication. Why? Because I can build a blockchain-based system, but you cannot make the difference from outside, because it's just like a normal system. But it is running differently, which means that we have a lot of projects based on blockchain, but the entities, they don't see the utility of communicating over that they were using blockchain, because it's for the internal usage or to solve their internal problems. It's not like for clients or for customers.
Yeah.
But because generally in B2B, it's to solve B2B problems between companies. But like Nadia said, there are other variants of blockchain like CBDC or use cases that you will hear in the media. For example, in Africa we have the Nigeria was the first country in the world to run a full CBDC. Yeah. And this joined the idea that I said before.
That's true, but the use of that CBDC has been disappointing, hasn't it? I mean,
but we need to understand why. Because it's not the technology or the solution, but it's the formula presented by the government to the population. This is the problem. But the solution itself, if it is presented differently, can solve a lot of problems. In Africa we have a big rate of unbanked population. We have the problem that Madam Nadia said, which is the non-convertibility of the currency, local currencies. We don't have global currencies. For example, in Morocco we have a dirham. Dirham cannot be used outside our border, but the cryptocurrency can be used directly globally. And that's why we have in similar countries with similar economies, we have a huge adoption among the young people, and we should understand why. Because these young people, they are open to the internet, they want to use and to buy and to sell over internet, they have their e-commerce business, and this limit of having a local currency is a pain point for them, and it can be solved easily using cryptocurrencies. So we need to understand that cryptocurrencies and blockchains are not a hype. They were on hype sometime, but just to close with the latest my ending statement, we need to understand why blockchain didn't overtake over the world. This is because the lack of regulation. Okay. Once we will have a regulation, blockchain in general, it will be a winning strategy for all companies.
Thank you for that, Berat. I saw Nadia was sort of wavering